hello there, I'm talking to you, you're a drug addict. What were you thinking? Dirty business. Oh dear, think of your family, you've really let them down. I'm only joking. I'm a drug addict as well. Now, the reason I became a drug addict, you might not know this yet, it'll be the same sort of reason. I took drugs really as a sort of an anaesthetic, as a distraction, because it was one of the few things in my life that gave me any comfort. Why is it that all the way through my life I felt this sense of irritation, this agitation, this emptiness, this hollowness, this feeling that something's not quite there, this feeling that there's something just beyond my grasp, this sort of loneliness, a hollowness in me always that nagged away at me. And when I found sort of every progressive drug, cannabis, LSD, crack, heroin, each of them are greeted as tiny little powdery prophets, solutions to the problem of my inner angst. But, you know, none of them worked with, and you know this now, because what are you, in some sort of rehab? They're in a rehab, are they? You idiot! You're in a rehab. It's obviously not. Well, why do you even need me to tell you? Well, like, the thing is that what I have learned is that what I was looking for all that time was a sense of union, a sense of connection. I heard once, all desire is the inappropriate substitute for the desire to be at one with God. Who knows that more than we? I think we drug addicts are very religious people. I think we have a yearning for something potent. And life's not just enough. It's enough for us, other people, to go have a few drinks, have a bit of a smoke, even a couple of lines, and they're all right with it. Why for us must there be more? Why for us is there the subsequent misery? Because for us these flimsy scraps are never going to be enough. We want the real connection. We want the absolute connection. And the thing is that connection exists, and it's possible to find it. It's possible that you, in fact, could find it now. First, you have to remove the chemicals and the substances. You have to get rid of them. I believe in abstinence-based recovery. I believe in harm reduction where necessary to get you to abstinence-based recovery, but I believe if you're a drug addict of the nature that I am, that you have to remove drugs from your life. Then what I think is you have to create the conditions for a spiritual experience. You have to create the conditions. I heard a wonderful analogy once. Apparently, if you live in rural America, and I can't imagine what that must be like, but if you do, you have to build a post box, you have to put a post up, and you have to build the post box to the exact specifications. Otherwise, the mail, the US mail, they ain't going to deliver your letters. So every morning, if you can't be thinking, I can't be bothered to build a mailbox, they can just chuck it on the lawn. You might not get any letters, and you might therefore receive the information in your head that no one loves you, no one cares about you, but you didn't build the conditions for the letters to be delivered. I think getting clean from drugs and following 12-step based abstinence programs is creating the conditions for a spiritual experience. We have to create the conditions for the letter to be delivered. Once we create the conditions for the spiritual experience, which isn't easy, it isn't easy, but it's easier than being a drug addict in active addiction. Once you create those conditions, then it is possible for the spiritual condition. Then you will need the support of a community of like-minded people. I think this is true for any transcendence, for any spiritual life. You have to first of all receive the message, and then you need the support of a community, unless you're hardcore enough to go it alone at the foot or the top of a mountain dressed in a sheet, and I'm not there yet.
And transcendental meditation would do what for them?
Transcendental meditation will give you the access to God. It will give you access to a peace. It will give you an access to a consciousness that is not entirely defined by yourself and your conditions as you understand them. It will give you sanctuary and serenity. That's what it's done for me. It's become an integral part of my life as a recovering drug addict is transcendental meditation. That's where I access what is known as the 11th step. Conscious contact with God. Conscious contact with God for me comes through transcendental meditation. It's a huge part of my recovery.
And the show ends. Thank you very much for all of this.